Hello and welcome to SDPN's 2023-2024 NBA season previews. Today we're taking a close look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, who made it to the playoffs last season without LeBron James for the first time since the 90s. Donovan Mitchell arrived and became everything that was promised, looking like someone who could end up on an MVP ballot, and Evan Mobley became a Defensive Player of the Year level player. Cavs are young and good already, but what steps can they take to be better than that, and to avoid having a disappointing playoff campaign like they did last season? Let's preview. But first, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more NBA content. The season is almost here, and we have tons of great NBA videos coming your way to get you prepped for what should be an awesome season. The Cavs won 51 games last year. Donovan Mitchell was their intrepid star. Darius Garland adjusted well to his backcourt mate, and the front court of Mobley and Jarrett Allen helped the Cavaliers to the single best defense in the NBA. But the way they lost to the Knicks in 5 games in the playoffs was ugly. They were flat out outclassed by a team that was more physical, and their young guys in Garland, Mobley, and Allen had a serious case of stage fright in Madison Square Garden. Garland was the best of the trio, finding a rhythm and being assertive as the series progressed, but he was far too inconsistent for a player of his caliber. It didn't help that Mitchell also struggled in the series besides Game 1 and forced even more pressure onto Garland. The reality is the Cavs are often too reliant on Mitchell and Garland to create offensively, and the lack of shooting they had around them forced the ball into Mobley and Allen's hands to create, and it didn't look great. They became too one-track minded offensively, and with no shooting, they really couldn't adjust to the way the game is played in the postseason. The good news is they did a great job of solving that issue in the offseason. Their 2 biggest additions in the summer are guys who can shoot and shoot off of movement, in Georges Niang and Max Strus. With Niang, the Cavs have a more stationary shooter, but he's large, can slide up to play the 4 or slide down and play the 3, and is a career 40% shooter from behind the arc, including knocking down 40% of his threes on 5 attempts in his 2 seasons in Philly. The Sixers were one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league last season, and Niang was a big part of that off of the bench. Niang can also theoretically hold his own defensively just because of his size, so they don't give up a lot on that end when they play him, although he is slow-footed a bit. But the truly perfect signing was Strus, who inked a 4-year, $63 million deal with the Cavs and is going to gel incredibly well with this team. He's a career 37% shooter from behind the arc, but on higher volume than Niang, attempting 6 a game. And while last season his percentages dipped to 35%, he shot over 40% on over 7 attempts a game in the 2021-2022 season for Miami, which that year was one of the best shooting teams in the league. The difference between Strus and Niang is that Strus is an excellent off-ball mover, coming off of pin downs, catching on the go, and always squaring up his shoulders to be an elite movement shooter. One area I'm particularly interested in with Strus is how much they can lean into the dribble handoff game between him and either Mobley or Allen. In Miami, Strus and Heat big man Bam Adebayo developed a really potent 2-man game through dribble handoffs, and I think that could be another source of offense for the Cavs just because of the playmaking abilities of Allen and Mobley. Strus will most likely start alongside the Cavs' 4-headed monster of Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen, and I think he will have an immediate impact. On top of that, they re-signed Caris LeVert, who shot nearly 40% from behind the arc for the Cavs last year on 4 attempts a game and could be an extra creator for the Cavaliers if they need him. Re-signing him and slotting him into the role Cedi Osman had is going to work wonders, and this way, the Cavaliers have depth, something that also forced them to struggle last season in the playoffs. Above all else, having a wing rotation of Niang, Strus, and LeVert is going to provide the Cavs with options to play alongside their main 4 guys. If they need, they can play a combination of wings and go smaller by playing one of Mobley or Allen. Regardless, signing Niang and Strus and re-signing LeVert provides them a level of versatility and fluidity that they just didn't have last season. Maybe the most intriguing of all of their wing players, and probably the guy with the most question marks, is Isaac Okoro. Okoro is without a doubt the Cavs' best wing defender, but at 6'5", he's not a traditionally sized wing, so he struggles containing the larger wings, and he's not the best shooter, which makes it hard to rationalize playing the former 5th overall pick. Last season, he shot a career best 36% from 3, but it was on 2 attempts a game. If he can develop his shot more, he can add a dynamic to the team that the Cavaliers don't have in a legit 3-and-D player. But otherwise, with the Cavaliers' new additions on the wings, his playing time might decrease if he can't keep up with the times. And as always, the development of Evan Mobley is going to be at the forefront of the conversation when it comes to their young guys. And I think year 3 is going to be a big one for the Defensive Player of the Year finalist. He's already shown what he can do defensively, but now it's about becoming more physical both offensively and defensively. Mobley was getting pushed around a lot in the playoffs, and I think this year will be about how he can impose his will on both ends. Developing an outside shot is always going to be key with him if they want to continue playing him and Allen together, but the very next step for him is to consistently have a bag to go to in the interior, whether it be through a face-up game or in the post. I think with the additions of Strus and Niang, we'll see more of Mobley at the 5 by himself, and that would help him learn the ropes of battling inside a little bit more. The main factor for this team in the regular season is going to be how malleable they are going into the playoffs. They have to find variety in the way they approach things offensively and not be as one-track minded as they were last year. With Strus, Niang, and development from the likes of Garland and Mobley, the Cavaliers are going to have a big year, much like they did last season. It's just about how they translate it into the playoffs. The Cavaliers over-under win total is set at 49.5 wins this season, and I think I'm comfortable with them going over barring any injuries. The additions of Niang and Strus just complement the team in a way that is going to make them even more difficult to stop offensively, and they already had tons of firepower to dominate on that end in the regular season. Mix in an incredible defense, and you have one hard team to beat. Outside of the top contenders in the East like Boston and Milwaukee and maybe Miami if they end up acquiring Damian Lillard, the Cavs are knocking on the door. But this is going to be a big year for Cleveland. They have to prove that they've learned from their playoff disappointment. JB Bickerstaff may be on the hot seat if they don't. And before you know it, Mitchell can be an unrestricted free agent in 2025 and eligible for big-time money. While the Cavs are young and their nucleus is more than enough to be excited about, there are expectations now for them to not only keep up what they did last year, but to build on it. Will they? Let us know what you think, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content. We will see you guys later. Take care.